What's up, everybody? Hope you guys are having a all right day. There is a lot that we need to talk about, so let's do this. Now, with this video, it might be breaking down into two parts. It might be one part, who's to say, but again, there is a lot that we need to talk about. So the first thing is I want to say congratulations to Elon Musk and to the launch of the SpaceX on their launch of the Falcon 9 rocket with a Crew Dragon capsule carrying two NASA astronauts on top of it. Now this happened over the weekend on Saturday, and everything is on the way. SpaceX is now the first private business to accomplish a feat, taking people to orbit that had until now only to be done by nations. Now, this Crew Dragon test flight is a shakedown cruise and to certify that the spacecraft meets NASA's needs and safety standards in order to start taking routine trips and with astronauts to and from the space station. Now, the two astronauts that went there are Robert L. Bunkin and Douglas G. Hurley. And they disembarked the Crew Dragon, exchanging handshakes and hugs with the three astronauts who were already on the space station. Now, the current mission will not be completed until the two astronauts return to Earth in the Crew Dragon, which they have named the Endeavour, the same name as the retired space shuttle that both men flew on, and the British sailing ship commanded by James Cook as he explored the Pacific. Now, the Crew Dragon test originally was scheduled only a couple weeks ago. It's enabling the astronauts to test out capabilities of the capsule, including serving as a shelter in case of emergency. However, certain things happen and they had to delay and so much more. But this is really cool to see them out there and everything along the way, and I wish them safety on their journey back. Now, on this next topic, it pertains to something that happened on March 13th, 2020. A young lady by the name of Breonna Taylor was killed in her apartment by three plainclothes officers. And now, 2 months later, the FBI of Louisville, Kentucky, has opened an investigation into the police-involved shooting of her. And this should have been done beforehand. Now, Taylor and her boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, were sleeping inside of their Springfield Drive apartment on March 13th, if you don't know the story of the long way, when officers with the Louisville Metro Police Department attempted to execute a no-knock search warrant. Now, these three plainclothes officers opened Taylor's front door and blindly opened fire into the apartment, according to a wrongful death lawsuit filed by her mother, Tamika Palmer. Now, Breonna Taylor, she was a licensed EMT, and she was shot at least 8 times, and she was pronounced dead when they transported her to the hospital. And Special Agent in charge Robert Brown said in a statement that the FBI will collect all available facts and evidence and will ensure that the investigation conducted in a fair, thorough, and impartial manner. As this is an ongoing investigation, we are not able to commit further at this time. Now, you're probably wondering what happened when everything went the wrong way if you don't know. Well, basically, Taylor was accused of accepting USPS packages from an ex-boyfriend who police were investigating as an alleged drug tracker, and used her address according to the warrant. However, they already had him in custody, and they still did this. Now, on the day of her death, the police said that they knocked several times. This was about 1 a.m. or something, before using the ram to open the door, and were allegedly met with gunfire because Kenneth Walker is licensed to have a gun. Now, when this happened, Walker said that he called 911 before he shot. He put one shot. He fired a shot from his licensed firearm, and he shot one of the sergeants in the leg, and he was charged for this. Now, Jefferson County Attorney Tom Wine said on Friday that while the sergeant's injury was not a result of friendly fire, He agreed to dismiss Walker's charges pending indictment. Now, Juan also said that, they also believe that additional investigation is necessary throughout this whole thing. And the officers that were involved in this are placed on administrative leave, actually reassignment, pending an investigation, and are named defendants in the lawsuit. That's a lot to bear with. And I understand people, it's just they should be in jail right now, but at the same time, a lot is happening as we speak. This topic that I want to talk about, or last part of it, it pertains a lot. And most people might know what I'm talking about, most people won't, but this is what I'm going to talk about. So I'm going to say that there will be some graphic photos and videos on this subject and everything that's on the way. Also, I'm going to be everywhere with this beat, so bear with me on this. Now, if you watched my last few videos, I talked about the protests and the riots that are happening after the death of George Floyd. Now, like I said, none of these riots are the answer to what is happening at all. Now, following up on that, everything with Chauvin and the other officers, is still going on. However, Chauvin, apparently, just finding this out, is actually the first white officer in Minnesota to be criminally prosecuted in the death of a black civilian in that state. That is something else. Now, moving on. Once I was talking about in one of my last video, I talked about a speech that MLK had entitled "The Other America." My apologies. And a saying that is being used around throughout social media and everything else on the way. And it is, a riot is a language of the unheard. But he said so much more to that meaning and everything else on the way. Check it out.
I think America must see that riots do not develop out of thin air. Certain conditions continue to exist in our society, which must be condemned as vigorously as we condemn riots. But in the final analysis, a riot is the language of the unheard. What is it that America has failed to hear? It has failed to hear that the plight of the Negro poor has worsened over the last few years. It has failed to hear that the promises of freedom and justice have not been met. And it has failed to hear that large segments of white society are more concerned about tranquility and the status quo than about justice, equality, and humanity. And so in a real sense, our nation's summers of riots are caused by our nation's winters of delay. And as long as America postpones justice, we stand in the position of having these recurrences of violence and riots over and over again. Social justice and progress are the absolute guarantors of riot prevention.
Now, Dr. King's point was subtle and simple. He does not condone on the violent tactics, including riots, but he argues that the way to stop citizens from rioting is to acknowledge and fix the conditions that they are rioting against. Now, along with that, King emphasized his support for nonviolent tactics and the struggle for freedom and justice, and expressed his disapproval for riots, referring to them as socially destructive. Now, when I see this certain photo, people are saying about the right way to protest. Are you talking about rioting? Because if you know your history, you know what happened on that day. And MLK did protest the right way, as claimed, yet he was still assassinated. Kaepernick protested peacefully, and yet people still cried about it. People riot, and it's just too much. Where is the right way for you to jump on and talk about certain things? Now, like I said, I don't condone these riots. These riots are not a protest. It is not in the spirit of Dr. King. This is basically chaos. A protest is something that has purpose. Now, to everyone who's out there, who's out there rioting and thinking, "Oh, this is a good idea," no, it is not. You are in fact disgracing the life of George Floyd and every other person that has been killed in this country. Now, because of all these riots, you now have issued curfews for almost all the states in the U.S. Now, to ask, are you happy about this? Because I sure as hell am not. I for one am appalled by this. And then along with that, apparently there are pallets of bricks being left around in certain areas that I'm guessing people want to be used for these riots and everything else on way. And if you do see those, I need you guys to hide those away and hide them from people, because again, these riots are not the right way to go. And I'm going to come back to this about the riots and everything else away. Now, moving on, people are saying that police officers are bad because they say all police officers are bad because of police brutality. I see the videos and I'm saddened by them. It's a lot happening. Little children were being maced, like the young lady who was maced in Seattle. She was, I believe, 9 or 10 years old. News reporters who are actually doing their damn job are out there getting shot by rubber bullets or getting pepper sprayed. And they keep showing you, saying, "Hey, I'm with the press," but yet they don't listen. Senators are out there getting pepper sprayed, like New York Senator Myrie, and all this is just terrifying to see. People are minding their own business while they were getting pushed around, like the couple that got tased, and all they were doing was just trying to get home.
Guys, come to me right now. 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 Come to me. Come to me right now. This woman just got tased. Come to me right now. Come to me right now.
Now, those officers that you see doing those sort of things, they are the ones that need to be fired, not the good officers that are actually going out there. Like, for instance, Officer Sheriff Chris Swanson, Flint, Michigan. He basically was on the side of a peaceful protest, and he basically walked with them. He clearly stated that he was on the side of peaceful protesting in this video.
We want to be with y'all for real. So I took my helmet off and laid the batons down. I want to make this a parade, not a protest. Come on. That's it. We got little ones dogs here. You got dogs. So what's up? So listen, I'm just telling you, these cops love you. That cop over there hugs people. So you tell us what you need to do.
Walk with us! 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 Walk with us!
Let's walk with us. Let's walk with us. Where do you want to walk? We'll walk all night. Where? Tonight's a great night for a walk.
Minnesota if we have to.
Can we? Oh, sure. Yes, sure. Yes, ma'am. That's right. That's right.
Now see, that's what you should be doing. Along with officers in Camden, New Jersey, who helped carry a banner saying, "Stand in solidarity," and seem to join in with the "No Justice, No Peace" chant. And Santa Cruz, California, Police Chief Andy Millis took a knee with protesters in the pose made by Colin Kaepernick, with the department tweeting in memory of George Floyd and bringing attention to police violence against black people. 2 Kansas City, Missouri police officers, one white, one black, were photographed holding aloft a sign saying, "End police brutality." In Fort Lauderdale, I fucking love this so much. I love the way she did this. I love what she did. Officer Crystal Smith in Fort Lauderdale, she told a white police officer, she told him off after he put his hands on a black woman who was peacefully protesting. She basically was on her knees and everything along, and he pushed her to the side. But let me show you the video so you can figure this out. See, that's the right way for police officers to do. Those are police officers who are heroes. Matter of fact, my own mother is a police officer, and I'm going to let you guys know this. If you decide to go and try to talk to my mother, try to criticize her for what she's doing, saying that she's evil and everything else on the way, let me tell you something. You have a problem with me. You got to come through me first, because nobody, and I mean nobody, disrespects my mother that way. That same goes for my friends and family who are also police officers as well. If you want to criticize them, you can criticize me, okay? So that's point blank. Now, coming back to all of these, these protests and riots, when you see all of these things, all these riots and everything, you're thinking, oh, all these black people are doing this. They're doing this. They're breaking windows. They're putting graffiti on these walls and everything's blah, 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 blah. No, that is not the truth. Matter of fact, you can see in some of these videos, people of color are breaking into some of these places. And with that being said, some in black community is actually trying to stop these people from doing so. Don't believe me? Check this out.
What did I tell you? What did I tell you? It is not black people. It is not black people. What are you doing? What are you doing?
I don't care. You're not helping them.
Look at this.
They're going. What is she doing? Don't tell me I didn't get that recorded. Oh my god. Oh, I missed the most important thing of the night. God damn it.
Again, it's not only black people. Then also, as you seen in that last video, you saw someone lighten up a Molotov cocktail and throw it at an NYPD car. The person in that video, her name is Samantha Shader, who is 27 years old, and she's from upstate New York. Now, she threw that cocktail at an NYPD car and it had 4 police officers in it. Now, luckily, it didn't ignite, as is stated, and the officers were able to get out. And Samantha has been arrested and now faces 4, not 1, but 4 counts of attempted murder on a police officer, attempted arson, so she has 2 things going on, assault on a cop, criminal possession of a weapon, and reckless endangerment. Did you really think that would be a smart idea? And then, with all these riots, freaking YouTuber Jake Paul was seen in someone's riot video. Now, he stated that he didn't steal anything, but actually he did. He stole the attention of what's really happening. People, a lot is happening. A lot is happening. Now, let me ask y'all this. What has Trump been doing throughout this whole thing? I know what he's been doing. He's been adding more fuel to the fire of chaos. He's in his little bunker and everything, trying to hide from everything in his long way. But former President Barack Obama is not. You see, after his statement on the killing of George Floyd, former President Barack Obama wrote a more lengthy statement on the role of protesting and catalyzing political change. He said in it, the bottom line is this: if we want to bring about real change, then the choice isn't between protest and politics, he wrote on Medium. We have to do both. We have to mobilize to raise awareness, and we have to organize and cast our ballots to make sure that we elect candidates who will act on reform. Trump sure as hell ain't doing that, so come on now. Continuing on, he said, the point of protest is to raise public awareness, to put a spotlight on injustice, and to make the power that be uncomfortable. In fact, throughout American history, it is only to response to protests that the political system has ever paid attention to marginalized communities. If you don't know Obama's backstory, you should know that he began his career as a community organizer in Chicago. And, he recommended that protesters and organizers calling for police reform make specific demands in order to more readily hold leaders accountable and tailor these demands to local institutions. Obama also emphasized voting not only on a national level, but in state and local races where elected leaders are directly responsible for things happening. We've got to get Trump out of office. Point blank. We got to get all these corrupt leaders out of office come this upcoming voting season. People, so much is happening. I fear for everyone. I fear for black people. I fear for white people. I fear for, Hispanics. I fear for the Asian community. I fear for everybody. It's just a lot to deal with. Now, I have a teacher. His name is Mr. Williams. I'm not going to say his first name, but he is an amazing teacher who I had in high school. He was a great guy. He's a black man, by the way, and he is a great teacher to have. He is a great leader. And he said something, he posted a video and he titled it, "I do not fit the description." And watching that video, it means so much to me because there was a ton of things in there he said that, just clicked in my mind. And there was something in there that got me thinking about something that the generation is now doing. Most people have TikTok, correct? People have TikTok, they want to, be TikTok famous and everything. And they have all the challenges and everything, and, they post it on social media, like Instagram, Facebook, all that kind of stuff. There is the one where it's like flip the switch, the one that's going on with the Drake song and whatnot. So if you don't know what that is, basically two people, one standing in the back, one is in the front. They have the camera, they have the phone recording everything, and the song is playing by Drake, and water's happening, everything, blah blah blah. And Drake says, "I just flipped the switch," and then they flip the light switch, and they switch spots, and they switch clothes and everything in a long way, or something like that. But the flip the switch challenge, it got me thinking that is what's happening right now in our world. Let me break this down for you, because it's gonna be a lot. Trust me, I got a lot to say. It's gonna be a lot. Now, African Americans have a certain style and everything along with it. We have a certain swag, we have a certain terminology, we have a certain culture, and everything else along the way. And people have prostituted it across all the years. Now, like Mr. Williams said in this video, he said, as a black man, I have to live a double life. And I agree with him on that, because I myself have to have a double life. You're probably wondering, what are you talking about? Here's what I mean. When I talk about certain things to people of different races, I have to prove that I am worthy enough to be in that room with them. Point blank. But when I go to a room full of people of black, and they say, "Hey, I saw you all the people over there," and they say, "I'm not black enough," I have to prove myself to them as well that I'm worthy enough to be in that room. Hence why I said flip the switch, aka having a double life. Now, there's a lot to go on and continue on with this. People love rappers. I'm going to use rapper T.I. for example. Everybody loves T.I. They love his music and everything along the way. They love when he's rapping about, I got all these hoes, I got all this kind of stuff and everything. Everybody loves that. But the moment when he tries to educate people, no one listens. The same goes for Killer Mike. You see, people love our black culture, but they don't always love us. Point blank. As a motivational speaker in some way, I make sure the future generation knows that they can make a difference. And to the future generation, if you are watching this, you can make a difference. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Be the change and not have to deal with what we're dealing with right now. Okay? I haven't talked to my little cousins in a while, but I know that they are safe with their parents. I know that all the kids that have been in my life that I've taught and everything, they know that I care so much for them. And they know that I believe in them point blank, and I know that they can make a change in their life. They can make a change for the future for us, which would be a good thing. Again, a lot is happening in this world, people. We've got to stop these riots. And, it's just too freaking much. I went out and I bought this a while ago. This is a GoPro. And like I say in my titles, do I need to start wearing a front and back camera? I got this, I basically got this for when I go on trips and everything along the way. But I'm also going to be using it for if I ever go out to like these protests or or any other things, because that's what we have to do now. We have to record it so that way people know what is actually happening. I'm going to be real with you guys. I'm not Martin Luther King Jr. I'm not Malcolm X. My name is Bryant Collins. I'm somebody who wants to be inspirational for people. I am somebody who wants a change in life. I want a lot of things to stop. I want all this racism to stop. I want all this hatred to stop. However, it's never going to stop. But you know what? I have a voice, and I'm going to continue using that voice. Now, before I wrap this up, everything along the way, I'm just going to say this. I have a lot of friends on social media and everything, and I see who is actually, who are actually supportive and who is not. You think I'm not taking note of, but I actually am. Okay, and I know that there are some people who are going to say, "Oh, I don't care, about this and everything." Some people are saying like, "All lives matter" and everything along the way. Some people are asking, "Why is this happening?" and everything along the way. Here's my thing. Here's my response to those who say, all lives matter and everything and so much more. There's the door. Okay? Because if you're tired of me talking about Black Lives Matter, if you're tired about me talking about making a difference, there's the door. Because I don't need your negativity in my life. Okay? My life is going to be dealing with positivity now and towards the future. Okay? Again, there's the door. If you were tired about me talking about Black Lives Matter or anything else. But I do love you guys. Point blank, every time, I don't care. I love you guys so much, okay? And I want y'all to know that, as I say in all my videos, okay? But like, share, comment, subscribe. Let people know that I'm out there for you guys, because I actually am out there getting the word and making sure that you guys know about that word, okay? If you're going out to those protests, please be safe. A lot has got to stop. Be safe. Don't do anything stupid out there. Just be safe, okay? I'm praying for everyone every day. We gotta stop this. We have got to stop all this. But I love all you guys. Peace out.